Hello darlings, in this week's video I'm going to be answering your questions since we just passed 90,000 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. Thank you all so much for being here. You mean so much to me. So I thought I would answer some questions that you guys wanted to ask me. I won't be able to get through all of the questions, but I'll try and get through as many as I can. And before I start chatting away and answering your questions, go make yourself a cup of tea. Alright, now that we have our cup of tea, let's get into the questions. If you could go back in time and witness a historical event, what would it be? Now this is kind of a hard question because there are lots of historical events that would be amazing to have seen, and also a lot of terrible events as well. So I would probably have to say the moon landing in 1969. I think that would have been so cool being able to witness that.
It's one small step for man,
and watch it on TV.
one giant leap for mankind.
That would have been so special. I'm sure quite a few of you guys have witnessed the moon landing, so that's really special. Lucky you. Next question, have you considered going fully vintage, for example, making your house look like you've just walked back into the 1950s? My house kind of is like that. I'm actually staying with my parents at the moment, but at home we do live in James's grandma's house, so it's all furnished kind of in a little bit of an older style, which is just so nice and cozy. Eventually when we have our own place, I will give it a vintage theme because I love vintage furniture and decor and aesthetic. So the next question is how to stay confident and not care what people say about you and the way you dress. I'm a teenager and self-conscious about myself. Your videos make me really happy, thank you. Oh, thank you very much. If you are wanting to dress in a vintage style, do it little bit by little bit. So if you found a nice pair of high-waisted trousers or a really pretty skirt, just wear that. Only take it in small steps if you're worried about fully changing your wardrobe and being a little bit self-conscious that people are looking at you, because I totally get that. It can feel a little like that. So you can try and just do it subtly, and even if it's just putting on red lipstick, and you'll feel self-confident once you've done that a few times, and then you feel like, I look really, really nice with red lipstick. And just taking little steps like that, I think, really helps to build up your self-confidence. Wear what makes you happy, don't worry about what other people are gonna say. Okay, so do you consider YouTube your career? If not, what do you do or want to do? YouTube is not completely my career, it's definitely my part-time job for the moment because I am also studying nursing. So my career will be a nurse eventually in 3 years' time. What are your favorite old movies and artists? My two favorites, if I had to pick, would be Doris Day and Leslie Gore. They are amazing. I love their music. But usually I just shuffle all of my old music so that I'm not just listening to one artist, I'm listening to like a whole bunch. Yeah, I've got a whole list of old movies that I want to watch, but I just haven't gotten around to it. One of my favorite old movies from the 1940s is called Laura, and that is a great movie with Gene Tierney in it. And yeah, I won't spoil it for you. Highly recommend. Go watch it. And then another one is a Christmas movie that I think I've mentioned in another Q&A called, oh my gosh, what's it called? Oh, It's a Wonderful Life is another one of my favorite movies. I just think that's so well produced. My two favorite movies would have to be Laura and It's a Wonderful Life from the 1940s. They're great, and I highly recommend going and watching them. Oh, this is a very good question. What is your favorite thing about making videos and the thing you hate most about it? I love being creative and I love brainstorming my ideas for my videos and picking out what I'm going to do for each week. And then I especially love stuff like when I did my 1950s week, I planned that out, all of the meals that I was going to make for that. And I just have a lot of fun, like moving the camera around and getting different angles. Yeah, I definitely love the creative filming side and being creative and cooking. So those sorts of videos and hairstyles, I love doing stuff with my hair. And then the thing I hate most about making videos is probably when I leave it last minute. This is a very good example. I'm filming on a Friday and I need to upload for Sunday morning at 7 a.m. But when I film it late and then I only have a very short time to edit it. That can be really, really annoying and very stressful. And I don't like staying up really late to edit my videos. I prefer to do it at the beginning of the week and then space it out over a couple of days and edit it. But that's not always the case. Life happens and you'll have other plans, other things you want to do during the week. But I need to make sure that I get a video out for you guys each week, each Sunday. Okay, this is a good question as well. How do you spend your average day to day? How much does it differ from the housewife routine to some might say normal, quote unquote, routine? I would say that it differs greatly. I don't live every day in a vintage way. I obviously dress vintage, but I don't live my day-to-day life like that. I love doing it and being creative and having heaps of fun doing those videos for you guys, and it's just really interesting and eye-opening having a completely different routine to what you usually do. I don't know what I do. I just do average normal person stuff. Like, yeah, I wake up and I have a cup of tea and have my breakfast, and it's not always, I do like to sit down for breakfast, but it might be a really quick breakfast because I've got to go off to uni or something like that, and pack my lunch as well to take for the day. And then other days I won't be at uni and I'll be home and editing a video. So I might be on my computer for a fair amount, editing the video for you guys. So yeah, it kind of depends. And some days I just have a lazy day and watch Netflix because, I've been busy at uni all week and I've edited my video and I have a little bit of free time and I'll just, have a nice lazy day watching Netflix. I just do normal person stuff. Ooh, this is a good question as well. What's your favourite part of Melbourne from a fellow Melbourneian? Did you teach yourself to sew? Thanks for your videos. You've inspired me to sew again after many, many years. Well, that's great. I'm really glad I've inspired you to sew. It's fun. I don't know whether I have a favourite part of Melbourne, but I definitely like going into the city, and I just find the architecture so beautiful, and I'll just walk around and just admire all the buildings because they're so old and so majestic. So I kind of half taught myself to sew. My mum helped me learn how to sew, and then also at school as well. So yeah, a little bit of everything. For the most part now, because I don't have anyone teaching me, I'm not at school, I just make stuff up as I go. If I don't know something, I might look it up on YouTube, but I don't do much fancy sewing. I just do the basic stuff. And another sewing question is, how did you learn to sew? Any tips for beginners? So tips for beginners, I would highly recommend watching Evelyn Wood. She is a vintage seamstress and she has a YouTube channel and she has some great videos for beginners. Stuff like, if your sewing machine is jamming up, she's got all of the answers. If you are really worried, like, how in the world do I use a sewing machine? She's got all of that stuff there. She also takes you through refashioning items, which is a couple of videos that I've done about refashioning clothes. So she is like the queen of refashioning. She's great. So I highly recommend checking her out. And she's Australian as well. Okay, so this is a great question. What was your favourite meal you made from your Dining Through the Decades series? I loved making the 1950s canapes, and I've made them a few times before. They are just delicious. Ooh, I loved the maraschino cherry cake. I thought that was delicious. It was I did not expect it to turn out nice. I was just thinking, it's going to taste really strong like maraschino cherries, but it was beautiful, really, really nice. Someone else under this comment said, yes, I'm curious too. Also, when will we get more episodes? Yes, there's going to be some more cooking episodes for the second season of Dining Through the Decades, and that will be really soon, in maybe about a month's time or a bit over a month, when I start my second semester at uni. When I get really busy, I like being able to film the cooking show for 1 to 2 hours a week, and then lovely James edits those cooking shows because I just really run out of time. So he's been the biggest help being able to edit those videos for me while I'm really busy at uni. So coming very soon. Okay, so this question is, what is it about the vintage aspect of your life that inspires you and gives you passion? Some examples like simpler time, connection to grandparents, the principles of the time, or something else. Also wanted to add that I really love your energy and enthusiasm. Thank you so much. Some vintage girls are inspired by their grandparents and that's what starts them on their vintage journey. But for me, it was period dramas that I just loved the way they dressed, so I just did the same. I love looking at old pictures, going through Pinterest and saving all of the beautiful black and white photos from the 1940s and 50s. So that is where I get a lot of my inspiration from and where I get ideas for outfits and accessories. And I also get a lot of inspiration from my grandparents now as well, looking back on photos of them. So the next question is, do you think that you will dress vintage for the rest of your life? Is there a time in the future where you can see yourself returning to modern clothes? By the way, I love the way that you dress and style your hair is adorable and it really suits you perfectly. I was just curious, love your videos. Thank you very much. I don't know whether I will go back to dressing modern, and I kind of think modern is, whatever is fashionable, and I've never been someone to keep up with the trends. If you watch my last video, I talk about my style evolution and I never kept up with the trends. I do think I see myself in the future wearing different stuff like blouses and turtlenecks and trousers and skirts because I just feel myself when I wear those things. Okay, this is a good question. What was the one moment in your life that made you feel proud of yourself? Love you, Sage. Oh, love you too. That's really, really sweet. Actually, there's a couple of moments. I think one of the moments that I felt proud of myself was when I started my YouTube channel and my 1950s housewife video unexpectedly became very popular, and I think I was like, wow, like I did not expect that to happen. And I remember feeling really proud of myself. I devoted a whole week to not using technology and I really put all of my time and effort into that video, and I had less than 100 subscribers. I maybe had 60 subscribers and I barely had anyone. I barely had anyone on YouTube, barely anyone knew me. So yeah, that was a really proud moment, I think. And then also getting into my nursing course and finishing my first semester, I feel really proud that yes, I've done one semester. Now I have, how many more semesters do I have? I have 2.5 years to go, but one semester down, and it's a lot of work. So much work that goes into uni, so many assignments and exams. So I feel proud that I've done that so far. Yeah. Hello darling, what's your basic style when you don't want to wear vintage looks? Hugs from an Italian fan. You inspire me, girl. Aw, thank you. My basic style is probably high-waisted pants and just a top. So this is an example of what I'm wearing now. I'm just wearing high-waisted 1950s trousers and a turtleneck. So it's a little bit of a baggy turtleneck, but it's super comfy. So that's kind of like my go-to style. Sometimes I wear stretchy kind of capri pants and just a top. And if I'm not wearing pants, if it's not cold, I'm wearing high-waisted shorts. So that's like my go-to style. I generally keep skirts for going out and usually stretchy pants, stretchy capris for when I'm at home. Oh well, so technically that is still a vintage style. But yeah, that's like a very laid back vintage style, which is kind of what I'm wearing today. And I might not always have my hair curled. I might just put my hair in a ponytail or tie it in a little bun at the back of my head. So yeah, that's kind of my laid back style. Okay, so this question is, do you do any thrift shopping? And if yes, what are some of your favorite finds? Yes, I love thrift shopping and I have too many favorite finds. I always pick up something. There's a little town near us, a little suburb, and every time I go into that op shop, I come out with something. They always have beautiful stuff, and there's like a little rack where they have, they just have a couple of 90s and vintage related stuff. And none of it's expensive either. It's a really reasonable price, and I just always gravitate towards that rack, and there's always something I get off that rack. There was a garage sale in the area where my parents live, and they had just vintage galore. I was in absolute heaven, and I found a really cool travel case, a 1950s handbag, and some 1940s gloves. So and a whole tray of powder, like vintage powder and makeup that they used, like, I don't know, it could be as old as the 1930s. So really, really special, and I'm really looking forward to furthering my collection and adding more pieces to that, because that's very exciting, and I've never owned any vintage makeup before. So yeah. So another question is, when you are a nurse, do you plan to wear vintage nurse uniforms? In brackets, they're so lovely. Yes, I totally agree. They are gorgeous. If I could wear vintage uniforms, I would. I don't think I'd be allowed to rock up in a vintage nurse's uniform with an apron and little high-heeled shoes and a little hat as well. I don't think I'd be allowed to. I want to, but I don't think I'm allowed. I might have some videos planned for stuff to do with nursing uniforms. Not spoiling anything. This question is, do you like pizza? And if yes, what are your go-to toppings? Congrats on 90k. Thank you so much. I love pizza. I love pizza so much. And my go-to toppings would be everything. I like everything on my pizza. And I'm okay with pineapple, I don't mind. But for the most part, just heaps of veggies and cheese. And I don't really know. I'm a veggie pizza kind of gal. I sometimes put veggie bacon on my pizza and cheese and just tons of veggies and mushrooms and olives. So good. This question, do you like flowers, and if yes, what are your favorite kinds? Mine are sunflowers, buttercups, and peonies. They're beautiful. My favorite flower would have to be a rose. I love roses. They smell so good and they look so beautiful. This question's good. Do people ever assume that you idealize the past based on your aesthetic? Not in person. I haven't really had many people say stuff like that to me. Sometimes people will comment on my other 50s videos and those lifestyle ones, and a lot of people assume I think that as well, that was, it was a perfect time, but it wasn't perfect. But it's just fun doing videos like that and experimenting and seeing what they lived like. And this question's very lovely as well. What keeps your spirits up and helps you to stay so positive? Sending love from Lithuania. Sending love back from Australia. When you send out love and positivity towards people, you usually receive the same back. So I think that can help with staying positive and happy. So the next one, I love your channel so much, you look like a literal angel. Thank you. That's very sweet. My question is, where do you buy the night curlers for your hair? And you read old magazines for inspiration, ? Kudos to you. Yes, I do read old magazines, and I also look a lot on Pinterest. There's some great inspiration on Pinterest looking through those old photographs. I got my hair curlers, or my foam rollers, from Amazon, I believe. They were actually gifted to me for a birthday, but there are just tons of colors, and the colors correspond to the size that you can get. So my foam rollers that I have are yellow, so they're one of the smallest sizes, but you can get larger sizes so you have larger curls. And if you're not wanting to use foam rollers, you can use bobby pins and pin curl your hair. So yeah, there's heaps of places online. If you just look up on Google foam rollers and stuff like that, you'll be able to find something. Okay, this is a good question, and I've actually been asked this a lot on my videos, and I try to respond to everyone's question about this. So, hi Sage, just wanted to pop in real quick. I was wondering how you preserve your beautiful vintage brush outs. Could you spill your secrets? Looking forward to the video. So to prolong my brush out, I will do a full foam roller set, and that is a nice tight curl, and this is going to last as long as possible until my next wash. So I will do the set, brush it out, wear it like that for the day, and then by the time night comes, I sometimes leave it out because my hair does hold a curl very well, and then the next day I just have much more relaxed curls. But if you're wanting to try and keep that as tight as possible, you can actually put a hairnet on and pin that in and sleep like that for the night, and that just helps to hold up the curls underneath. And if not, you can re-roll your hair in your foam rollers, or just like wind it up very gently and pin that in place. Or low maintenance, just pulling all of your hair together and then folding it under and rolling it up to the base of your head. That's something that Lacey does, and that really helps her curls stay in place. I will make a video about how to prolong your set, so you can kind of see what I do with my hair, but that kind of was a brief explanation of what I do. I'm getting quite a few comments asking whether you can meet little puppy, and yes, I'm going to bring her up. And the other question attached to this question was also, how tall are you? I'm about 5'1". I'm not 5'2". I'm 5'1". So I'm a little shorty, but it's okay. When I stand next to James, I look very small and he looks very tall. Do you have any advice for the plus size lady who would like to embrace your fashion style? It is very challenging to shop vintage when the garments are too small. Thanks, love your channel. Thank you very much. Yes, I know vintage garments can come in very small sizes, and my suggestion would be to buy reproduction. There are so many brands. If you look up plus sized vintage clothing or, reproduction clothing, you should have an endless list of websites. There are some great brands today that are making beautiful reproduction pieces, and they come in so many sizes and an extensive plus size range. This question is, what's your go-to red lipstick? Definitely Besseme's Red Velvet. I love that color, and I've got it on at the moment, mixed with another lip pencil, but it's such a beautiful red. It's a dark, bright red, and it's the sort of red that can go with a lot of different complexions. It can be a bit difficult to find the right red to go with your skin tone, so I definitely recommend a nice dark red like this one, like Red Velvet. It's very lovely. What is your favorite season? My favorite season would have to be autumn. I am an autumn baby, and I love the deciduous trees and all of the beautiful orange leaves. I love that so much. Where I grew up when I was younger, we didn't have any deciduous trees, so you pretty much didn't know it was autumn because none of the leaves fell from the trees. They were just green all the time. But when we moved to Melbourne, we got to experience autumn for the first time pretty much, and we were watching all of the leaves around us fall from the tree and change colour. It was beautiful. What is your favourite dish to cook? I don't know what my favourite dish to cook is. My favourite meal is a baked dinner or a roast dinner. I love potatoes and I love gravy. So pretty much any vegetable smothered in gravy, yes please. Is that your natural hair colour? If so, I'm in love. No, it's not my natural hair colour. I've actually got henna in my hair. You can see here, my natural colour is a dark brown, but this is just henna in my hair at the moment. How is your nurse schooling going? My nurse schooling is going great. It's a bit stressful, but it's really enjoyable, and I love doing my nursing labs and going in and got the hospital beds and the mannequins in the bed that we have to take care of. I think it's awesome. Yeah, I'm really loving it. Oh, this is a bit of a back to the future question. If you went back in time, would you dare to talk to your grandparents? And if you spoke to them, what would you tell them? Maybe I'd plan a situation to run into them and then offer them over for a cup of tea. I think I'd do that. How do you keep your curls in while swimming? P.S. Love your videos. So I haven't actually curled my hair and been swimming with a cap yet, but I have bought a little vintage swim cap, well, a vintage inspired one. So it's pink and has flowers all over it. So I've yet to try that out and see whether it actually stops water from getting to my hair, but I'll get back to you on that one. Usually there are a couple of cute hairstyles that you can do, like milkmaid braids that go up on top of your head, and that's a vintage style that you can wear in the water, and your curls aren't going to be ruined because you don't have any. But yeah, you wouldn't wear these curls in the water because they're obviously not going to last. So some sort of updo that will last in the water. I would recommend that one. If you can't do some sort of updo, I would recommend getting a vintage swim cap. They have a lot available on Amazon. Quite a variety to choose from actually. If you could meet one famous person from the 50s, who would you want to meet? I would love to meet Marilyn. I think that would be amazing to meet Marilyn in the 1950s. Maybe before she started to become very popular, maybe at the very, very beginning. That would have been amazing to meet her. Rita Hayworth. Who else? I don't know. I would want to meet everyone. I'd want to say hello. I'd want to say hello to all of the beautiful ladies back then. Who is your favorite vintage style icon? Congratulations on 90k. Thank you so much. Okay, so my favorite vintage style icons would have to be three ladies: Rita Hayworth, Shirley Temple, and Lucille Ball. I love Lucy's casual style. I love that she wears trousers and really gorgeous blouses, and she always has her hair up. I love that. Yeah, they're my three style icons. How long does it take you to set your hair at night and do your makeup in the morning? It takes me about 10 to 15 minutes to set my hair at night and about 5 to 10 minutes to brush it out in the morning. And to do my makeup, I guess about 5 or 10 more minutes on top of that. Before my battery runs out, I'm going to go get Bimby, my parents' little Jack Russell, and introduce you to her. Alright, I'll be back. Go! Oh my gosh! She's a little... Oh! Bimby! Oh, you scared me. Why are you so hyper? Bimby. Roll. And roll. Good girl! Roll. And roll. Good girl. I'll give you a treat one way. Bimby. Bimby's here to say goodbye. You want to say goodbye? Bimby says, goodbye everybody. Goodbye. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for asking me heaps of questions, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to answer them all, but have a lovely day and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye. Bimby. Whoa. Sounds cocky. Okie dokie, artichoke.